What is the same for both copper and fiber interfaces when using SFP modules? A. They support an inline optical attenuator to enhance signal strength. B. They provide minimal interruption to services by being hot swappable. What are the functions of a server on a network? A. Handles requests from multiple workstations at the same time. B. Housed solely in a data center that is dedicated to a single client, achieves redundancy by exclusively using virtual server clustering. Which function is performed by the collapsed core layer in a two-tier architecture? A. Enforcing routing policies. B. Marking interesting traffic for data policies. C. Applying security policies. D. Attaching users to the edge of the network. What is the primary function of a Layer 3 device? A. To transmit wireless traffic between hosts. B. To analyze traffic and drop unauthorized traffic from the Internet. C. To forward traffic within the same broadcast domain. D. To pass traffic between different networks. Functions that performed by the core layer in a three-tier architecture? A. Provide uninterrupted forwarding service. B. Inspect packets for malicious activity. C. Police traffic that is sent to the edge of the network. D. Provide direct connectivity for end-user devices. What is a recommended approach to avoid co-channel congestion while installing access points that use the 2.4 GHz frequency? A. Different non-overlapping channels. B. One overlapping channel. C. One non-overlapping channel. A manager asks a network engineer to advise which cloud service models are used so employees do not have to waste their time installing, managing, and updating software that is only used occasionally. Which cloud service model does the engineer recommend? A. Infrastructure as a service. B. Software as a service. Give at least one function of a Layer 2 switch. A. Acts as a central point for association and authentication servers. B. Selects the best route between networks on a WAN. C. Moves packets within a VLAN. D. Moves packets between different VLANs. An engineer observes high usage on the 2.4 GHz channels and lower usage on the 5 GHz channels. What must be configured to allow clients to preferentially use 5 GHz access points? A. Client band select. B. Re-anchor roamed clients. C. OEAP spilt tunnel. Which networking function occurs on the data plane? A. Processing inbound SSH management traffic. B. Sending and receiving OSPF hello packets. C. Facilitates spanning tree elections. D. Forwarding remote client server traffic. Under which condition is TCP preferred over UDP? A. UDP is used when low latency is optimal, and TCP is used when latency is tolerable. B. TCP is used when dropped data is more acceptable, and UDP is used when data is accepted out of order. C. TCP is used when data reliability is critical, and UDP is used when missing packets are acceptable. A project manager is working in an environment where requirements are not very clear and may change during the project. Which strategies should the project manager take into account for risk management in this environment? A. Occasionally identify, evaluate, and classify risks. B. Frequently review incremental work products and update the requirements for proper prioritization. Which group of inputs will a project manager use during the monitor stakeholder engagement process? A. Project charter, business documents, and project management plan. B. Agreements, scope baseline, and project management plan. C. Work performance data, enterprise environmental factors, and project management plan. How should a project manager plan communications for a project which has uncertain requirements? A. Include stakeholders in project meetings and reviews, use frequent checkpoints, and co-locate team members only. B. Invite customers to sprint planning and retrospective meetings, update the team quickly and on a daily basis, and use official communication channels. Which of the following are outputs from the process of creating a work breakdown structure, WBS? A. Project scope statement and accepted deliverables. B. Scope baseline and project documents update. C. Accepted deliverables and enterprise environmental factors. Which task will a project manager undertake while conducting project resource management? A. Identify the different aspects of the team to manage and control physical resources efficiently. B. Procure equipment, materials, facilities, and infrastructure for the project. C. Define the roles and responsibilities of each team member. Which is an example of an internal enterprise environmental factor? A. Market share brand recognition. B. Factory location. C. Local government regulation. D. Industry research. A company must implement sales software because it is opening a new branch in a foreign market. Which type of life cycle would the project manager use in this case? A. Predictive life cycle. B. Waterfall life cycle. C. Hybrid life cycle. What are the two most common contract types used in a project? A. Cost plus award fee, CPAF, contract and fixed price contract. B. Fixed price contract and cost reimbursable contract. C. Cost reimbursable contract and time and material, tandem, contract. If you established a contingency reserve including time, money, and resources, how are you handling risk? A. Accepting. B. Transferring. C. Avoiding. D. Mitigating. Which are required to create the schedule management plan? A. Scope baseline, work breakdown structure, WBS, estimated costs, and milestone list. B. Enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets, project charter, and project management plan. In an agile or adaptive environment, when should risk be monitored and prioritized? A. Only during the initiation and closing phases. B. During the initiation and planning phases. C. During each iteration as the project progresses. Which factors should be considered for cross-cultural communication? A. Background, personality, and communications management plan. B. Personality, background, and escalation process. C. Sponsor relationship, personality, and background. Which services use both TCP and UDP ports? A. SSH. B. TFTP. C. DNS. D. FTP. How do I open debug for NAT? A. Run NAT. B. Debug IP NAT. C. Debug NAT stats. D. Debug start NAT. What's the broadcast address for 192.168.145.0 with the default subnet mask? A. 192.168.145.255. B. 192.168.145.1. C. 192.168.0.0. D. 192.168.145.254. How can 2.4 GHz access points avoid co-channel congestion? A. One overlapping channel. B. One non-overlapping channel. C. Different non-overlapping channels. D. Different overlapping channels. Select the option that is applied in common access lists. A. Source address and subnet mask. B. Source address and wildcard mask. C. Destination address and subnet mask. D. Destination address and wildcard mask. On the data plane, what function does networking do? A. Facilitates spanning tree elections. B. Sending and receiving OSPF hello packets. C. Processing inbound SSH management traffic. D. Forwarding remote client-server traffic. Which ones about TCP and UDP are true? A. TCP is slower than UDP. B. TCP is a secure protocol, UDP is not fast. C. TCP has an 8 bits header. D. UDP has guaranteed transmission. A host discards a corrupted frame. Which OSI layer verifies frames? A. Network. B. Data link. C. Application. D. Physical. Type the command to view the show configuration settings. A. Show config. B. Show enable config. C. Show running config. D. Show startup config. QoS is buffered and sent with a slight delay during traffic exceed. A. Traffic determining. B. Traffic monitoring. C. Traffic shaping. D. Traffic selecting. Which command resets LLDP error counters? A. Clear LLDP. B. Clear table LLDP. C. Clear LLDP counters. D. Clear LLDP all. Which rapid STP port state combines disabled, blocking, and listening? A. Discarding. B. Blocking. C. Forwarding. D. Learning. In what mode can an access point connect as a client? A. Rogue detector mode. B. Sniffer mode. C. Client mode. D. SE Connect mode. Which low latency requires an Ethernet switching method? A. Queuing. B. Cut through. C. Store and forward. D. Cisco Express Forwarding, CEF. Which router command identifies traffic bottlenecks between 2 points? A. Trace. B. Ping. C. Debug. D. SSH. Which switch spanning tree port type costs the root bridge the least? A. Alternate port. B. Designated port. C. Bridge port. D. Root port. Which is not a network overlay? A. VXLAN. B. IPsec. C. OSPF. D. CAPWAP. What happens before connecting to a server after receiving a DHCP address? A. TCP handshake. B. Proxy ARP. C. ARP request. D. DNS query. What is a network switch's default setting in Cisco? A. ARP aging timer equals 300 seconds. B. MAC aging timer equals 180 seconds. C. VTY lines are disabled. D. Password encryption enabled. What STP priority setting on a Cisco switch is not permitted? A. 0. B. 1. C. 4096. D. 28672. How does Ansible interact with the Cisco DNA Center? A. UDP. B. ICMP. C. HTTP. D. SSH. Which feature describes what wireless SSID is? A. VLAN. B. WLAN. C. Subnet. D. Authentication protocol. Which of the following protocols forms ether channels? A. IGRP. B. L2TP. C. PAGP. D. HTTP. What is not a valid IPv6 address type? A. Unicast. B. Broadcast. C. Multicast. D. Anycast. Which is not an acceptable IP default network configuration? A. IP default network 172.16.25.0. B. IP default network 192.168.10.0. C. IP default network 12.0.0.0. D. IP default network 126.0.0.0. ACEs should be put in an access list in the order of A. In then out. B. Destination address. C. More to less specific. D. Device number.